A lot of people end up asking me, how can I be so calm? How can I be able to handle things and the such, not react much to aspects? And see, the question is probably good, but I don't have necessarily an answer to provide. See, the point is very simple. Patience is not a teachable. Patience is not something that you walk to someone and is like you ask them, how can I learn to be patient from you, right? Well, you may watch other people, you may see their behavior, but patience is something that one has to feel inside. One has to train their mind to stop reacting to literally everything. Now, it's not about becoming a machine that ignores everything. First and foremost, ignoring things always makes them stronger, a higher priority in your mind, because first and foremost, when you ignore something, you're giving it way more energy, way more compact energy than you'd give it while you're just thinking regularly about it. Because when you think about something, well, that is something. But when you ignore something, well, you put a lot of frustration into it. You're focusing too much energy on that. So it will overwhelm your mind sooner or later. Patience is about realizing the fact that, let's take, for example, the fear of being judged. See, in order to transcend the fear of being judged. You have to realize, not just know, you have to realize the fact that nobody in this world will actually care about you, especially the television, especially the news, your government, in some people's cases, if they're unfortunate, even their family. So once you know that, this should be the most liberating thing in your life because if most people can't care much about you, why would you simply bother with listening to them? They don't care much about you, they just care about you doing the same piece of shit misery that they are in because most likely they want you to suffer as well. So the point is, in time, you should come to the realization that everything is good if you do it by your way, on your own terms, sooner or later, because people will ask you to do things. Most likely, it's not going to be the most suitable thing. So, if people can't care about you, well, it is liberating because you don't have to bother too much with their opinions as well, unless they become violent, and well, you have to deal with that one way or another. But patience is not something that you learn, patience is something that you practice. Yes, you practice it slowly and surely because you're not going to become patient for 1 minute if you can't sit still for 5 seconds. You're going to have to find some time for it and you're going to have to practice it. Yes, I can stay patiently quiet and do my own things even for hours, even if I'm getting distracted more and more nowadays because of certain things and certain contrasting feelings and emotions that swarm my mind sooner or later. But those are karmic things that I'm putting to rest and, well, hopefully healing once and for all. But, spirituality is not something simple. It is not something that you necessarily have to attend. It goes on and on. You don't have to believe into it. You don't have to trust into it. It does its own thing in the background. So the point is very simple. Patience is, you can take it exactly like spirituality. You simply live by it. Yes, you simply practice it here, you practice it there, you practice it a bit now, a bit more. You just practice it by going through certain events that typically challenge you, and you get yourself used to no longer reacting to those. Because reaction is a fight or flight thing. You don't have to deal with every problem in your life with survival, because that means you're living life as if everything is a threat to you. Not everything is a threat to you and your life, yes. Even if the whole world seems too fast paced and you have to do everything instantly and now, else, someone's gonna get pissed. They don't care about you, so why would you care much? Unless you lose your job or you lose your house or you get into a very bad situation, well, maybe you have to tackle that with a bit more tact, I may say, but being tactful requires patience as well. So, patience is something that you try. A lot of people have at most patience for something that they like. Maybe their video games, maybe watching their favorite movies or rewatching them. But patience should come as a virtue, right? Because patience as a virtue is something that you have in general, which is, let's say, something in your blood. Everyone most likely has patience to do that which they love. Some people have patience when it comes to slacking off. Some people just feel tired all the time. So if they get like 4 days in a row to simply slack off, they will be probably the champions of their own couch. You're not going to be able to do anything about that, right? So this being said, hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. Remember, patience is not something that you would necessarily learn from others. If you can't keep your mind quiet for 5 seconds, meditations won't help you. Yes, in most situations, those meditations and videos about motivation that you hear online, they're not going to do anything. You're going to feel good for a bit because you're distracting your mind from the mundane things you are already investing your energy in, and that's when you're going to feel good. But when you actually start doing something, if you're not in the mood to do that, you're not going to be able to do that much. Okay, one has to also comprehend the depths of their emotions, because the mind is very volatile, while the emotions, once they set in, you're going to feel those for a long freaking time. So one has to comprehend how to function in certain things. Everyone nowadays wants things done quick. Everyone wants the quick fix and the such. Take into account your emotions always, because they are the best indicators in your life. If you're feeling down, do the thing that you have to do, but take your time. It might take you 5 times longer, right? Time to succeed at that. Well, take your time, because in the end, you have to comprehend one thing. Time is limited in your life, but you have to comprehend life as if you would be immortal. It is a very dangerous path to take because it is very risky. A lot of people end up in their ignorance thinking that they are immortal and that they have all the time in the world to distract themselves. No, when you plan on something, imagine only while you're planning that you are immortal. Take all the steps that you need, and also ask yourself, if you had all the immortality, all the time in the world to think about that, how would you think about it? Because everyone thinks that they want it quick, they just allow themselves 5 seconds, and you can't crop a plan in that short, right? When you plan on something, you need to take the most time. Because think about this, when you have to cut down, let's say, 10 trees, what do you spend the most time on? Cutting the trees or sharpening the axe, right? If you sharpen the axe well, it might take a lot of time, but it would be wiser to spend like more than half the time, probably even 3/4 of the time, sharpening the axe. Then cutting down the trees will be easy peasy, right? You're not gonna do much with a blunt axe, right? So patience is also, you can do it a bit mechanically. Once you get yourself adjusted, once you get yourself used to the steps that you have to take, at least you know what to expect, right? You can build some, I call it mechanical patience, right? I have my own terms, yes, but you can cheat a bit around that, because no one's gonna grow patience, you know, over the night, especially in the world of TikTok. Yes, if people can't sit still for 5 seconds, nothing is gonna help them. You can listen to all the freaking motivation videos and all the meditations and the such. They're not gonna do shit for you. Yes, things with patience, well, as it says, it is patience. It has to be done slowly. You have to simply learn to let your thoughts flow. And once you do that and let them simply flow without attaching yourself to those, slowly and surely you will get back in touch with your intuition. Once you are in touch with your intuition, things will start flowing more normally, and you will have finally a certain sense of direction in life. You can have a sense of direction even without your intuition, but it would be good if a higher part of you can actually offer some help, which the mind may not always comprehend. I'm a highly intuitive being, that's why I don't make much sense to people, because I get some insight that it's beyond my mind. And people like seeing the trends within you, and once they get used that you do something in a certain way, they expect you that you are gonna act the same way forever, right? So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenc Jan Bohr signing out.